Hey, do you know what? I'm gonna punch you in the face right now. It is weird, isn't it? But what would you feel? Anger? I guess so. Misunderstanding? 100%. And would you say me something in response? Undeniably. So in other words, you will show me your emotions and feelings. But for some reason, we do this only when our physical body is hurt. And when we receive the same punch, but only to our psyche or in the world, we tend to keep them deep inside. And here we come to the main problem, concealment. Well, actually one of them, because the core of all mental issues lies in our initial understanding of the very essence of the psyche. And many people, especially adults, still believe that our inner world is not as important as body, so it can be neglected, it can be ignored, and in general, it is not worth paying much attention to. And think about it. How often you had moments of complete mental decline, and how long did they last? A day, a week, God forbid a month, and did you realize this at that moment? Probably not. There was only one thought in your head. Stress. So what? Everyone suffers from it. I have a serious problem to concern. And well, frankly, how can I blame you for that? Because even I had the same unsaid. I had a period in my life that I barely remember to, but it literally made me live in a fog for a year. A year of anxiety, fear, and anger. A year of the war. And when the war struck, I withdrew into myself. All that surrounded me was stress, stress, and stress again. And what did I do to make me feel better? Nothing. I was only making myself worse. I tried to avoid talking about my feelings because I felt that I simply have no right to complain. So I hid my emotions deep inside, hoping that they would disappear in some magical way, but no way. They didn't disappear. In fact, they only got stronger and stronger over the time. And it is scary, isn't it? But the scariest is that I didn't see this as a big problem. Like, everyone feels bad, I feel too, so what can I do? These were my thoughts. And you see, exactly this attitude towards mentality creates a ton of stereotypes and misunderstandings. And one of them is the stereotype that the person who shows his emotions is the weak person. And naturally, after such stereotype, a person cannot behave differently. So you hide your emotions and feelings in order not to be embarrassed. By the way, since when did depression become a fun topic of conversation? Because I heard a lot of people joking about mental issues like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder as fun when a person suffers from one's own existence, isn't it? But will we laugh if we find out that according to World Health Organization, approximately 280 million people have depression? Therefore, we must understand that depression does not come alone, and it can be combined with other mental issues like anxiety disorders or alcoholism. And yes, I know your question. Alcoholism is also a kind of disturbed emotional well-being because people try to elevate their emotions with alcohol. Yes. And you know, it would be even funnier if you add ages to ableism by saying depression at 5 years old, or my mom has bought me chocolate and now I have depression. No, it's not. It doesn't work so. So let's finally face the truth, the simple but important truth. Mental health is not a joke, it's not funny, it's serious. And everyone can have emotional problems. Teenagers, adults, children, literally everyone. And it was not for nothing I have mentioned adults, because it is they who are responsible for shaping our attitude towards mentality. But when a teenager comes to them and says that he or she experienced emotional concerns and want to go to a psychologist, what do? They ignore, that's what. And some even say, do not fabricate stories, everything is fine, a teenager, it will pass. Honestly, it is not nice to hear that, especially for youths whose brain soaks up all information like a sponge, and consequently, they're gonna think that such behavior is acceptable and they will teach their future children the same. And by the way, it is not surprising that almost all people have hidden childhood traumas that they have never thought about exactly they influence our parenting. And what do I mean by that? Well, imagine that you grew up in a family where your opinions and thoughts don't matter. So most likely you will learn how to hide your feelings from an early age. And this scenario often arises when parents judge our ability for expressing emotions. But let's go back to the most interesting part, namely, how did I manage to recover from last year's event? And honestly, I did nothing special, really. I just started talking and I talked about everything that I could. Every evening I talked to my parents and friends, and our problems, thought experiences were our main topics. But the most important, we started to share, not conceal, and this I wanted to remember. And I also realized that there's no shame in being weak sometimes. It is shame to be shown by bottling up your emotions. And and as I said earlier, pretending you don't have certain emotions can actually help you avoid expressing them publicly, but it doesn't make them go away. In fact, holding back your emotions can only intensify them. So how long can you keep pretending that your feelings don't exist before they start to consume you? And if you're struggling with being open and honest in what do you say, particularly if you haven't done before, I'm going to give you some tips that might actually help you. And the first one, it is, according to healthline.com, practice mindfulness could be truly helpful. But what is it itself? Well, it is the ability to analyze the present moment as soon as it happens. Imagine that you are really furious right now, but you don't want to start an argument with someone, so you're going to take a pause and ask yourself a simple question. Why am I feeling this way? And by answering this question regularly, you will begin to understand your inner world better and better, and it will become much easier for you to share personal things with others, because pure understanding of yourself is the most crucial element of emotional honesty. And second one, do not underestimate yourself and your problems, because it's terrifying when you think that your experiences or problems are not as important as others. So you have no right to complain. No, you have right, because each of us is unique and we all have our own problems that are important for us. And in conclusion, I'm going to give you a last piece of advice. In order to be honest about your feelings, find someone you trust. But what if I don't have such person, you may ask me? Well, I'm going to say, become such person for someone. Such simple, yes, but it truly works. Break down the invisible wall, make the first step, and speak about your emotions. Not necessarily sensitive ones, just show that you are ready to share. And as soon as you do this, you will feel the person you're talking to will start sharing personal things with you in response. And this is mutual trust in all the beauty. And that's all for now, but I want you always to remember, sharing emotions and feelings is not a weakness. On the contrary, it is the key to breaking from the chain of emotional repression and start living freely. Thank you for watching.